tree is dry. But before we go assembling the card, I could assemble it with just plain red paper, but since we have red glittery cardstock, I thought it would be fun to glitter the edges of the cardstock as well. So we're going to use our same Versamark pad. I'm just pressing it on the sides of, where did I put my powder? There it is. I'm just pressing it on the sides of the cardstock. I will have a little spoon in here just for this. I'm going to put the powder right on top of that ink. There we go, tap the excess off, and then melt it. And do that on all 4 sides. So I'm going to do it on the opposite side so that I let that side cool down. There we go. And because I started heated embossing here and ended it there, this is going to be cooler, so I'm going to do that side there. Super simple, but a great way to get matching cardstock. And last but not least, the last side. There we go, our glitter cardstock is all ready. So I'm going to get a card base. And let's glue this down. There we go. I'm going to use a couple of containers to just hold corners of that down while I ink the edges of our tree piece. There we go. I always set everything up right before I start filming a video and then I forget where I set it up. And if you didn't want to ink the edges, you don't necessarily have to. I just find that it adds a little bit of dimension to the card. So I like doing it. But it wouldn't look like it was incomplete if you didn't do that. So now glue down the tree piece. Center it nicely. And then I'm going to take some stickles. And there's the ones that I used here. Just going to add a little bit of sparkly garland on the tree. And I kind of typically do like a little X pattern. There's really no right or wrong. If you find that you by doing this, if you find there's an empty piece or whatever that you want with a piece of with a little strand of garland in it, do it. That's no big deal. Now you're going to have to be a little bit careful as we are putting these pieces down because we've got wet stickles there. So I'm going to put a dot of glue right up there, put my star on. And then I typically put my big ones on first and put a bigger glob of glue. I want to make sure that it sticks to the inside of that brad. And I'm just following my completed card. What I did for my sample is I just laid them out first so that I could see exactly where I wanted all of my pieces to go. But I did go and lay out the big ones first, and then I want that a little bit out. I don't necessarily want them right in line. I laid out my big ones first, and then I filled in the gaps with the small brads. And for the small ones, obviously you need less glue, so you don't need to put quite as much as you did for the big ones there. And like I said, if you're wanting to send a card like this to someone and mail it, rather than having the extra bulk and have to pay extra for postage because it's so thick, I would just use some stickles. But this is just one of those techniques that often when I show people, they're wowed by it. And especially, like for instance, the star, you may have noticed that it was pink when I started before I made it gold. Sometimes you can't find brads that are the colors that you want, but you happen to have embossing powders that are the colors that you want. So they're super, super easy to change and customize them to your project. So this card is complete. I'm just going to set this aside to dry completely.